currently stood at the Chronicles of Georgia, one of the more dramatic nods to the country's Soviet past. And that's what today's video is about. I'm going to take you around some of the brutalist Cold War style buildings that are still dotted around Tbilisi. Relics that most tourists never see or just walk past without clocking. Because while Georgia today gets framed as an up-and-coming country known for wine, mountains and cute cafes, it's also got this darker, rough-edged undercurrent. And if you look close enough, you'll still find the bones of its Soviet history standing right there, staring back at you. So we're just stepping into the Chronicles of Georgia right now. First thing that comes to my mind was a Soviet Stonehenge. That's the vibes it's giving. And on all the pillars, you can see all the religious figures on there. And the sculptures of the religious figures are all supposed to be scenes from the life of Jesus Christ, including Jesus himself, Mary, and also Saint Nino, who is credited with bringing Christianity to Georgia in the 4th century. Now, if you can't be asked to count the pillars that are here, there are 16 of them. Each of them are about 30 to 35 metres tall, and they combine national history, like kings and queens, on the upper half, and on the lower half, scenes of the life of Jesus Christ. Now, the construction began in 1985 by a Georgian Russian in the late Soviet era. Now, after the Soviet collapsed and Georgia became an independent nation in 1991, public funding for the Chronicles dried up and parts of it remain unfinished. Got some scaffolding there, which I very much doubt has been here since the late 80s, but you never know. You never know. Now, the very placement of the Chronicles high on a hill here in Tbilisi, overlooking the city and its reservoir, is a symbol of Soviet ambition itself, a physical show of power and permanence. 3,000 years of Georgian history depicted right in front of us. The level of detail is actually quite impressive. I feel like you could walk around here for a good hour or two, just looking at the different elements of each individual pillar. Everyone tells a different story. Here you've got Jesus on the cross there. Here you've got what looks to be potentially some sort of Last Supper. 12 disciples there as well. It exceeded my expectations a little bit, to be fair. I actually like the concept, the brutalist pillars, each depicting a different story from Georgian history and its roots in Christianity. It's actually quite impressive. Scattered on the outside of the pillars, you've got these scriptures on the floor. They've got all Georgian writing going down, and there's one, the main one it seems, is right in the middle square. And that's the main scripture that sits right in the middle of the Chronicles. So I'm not sure whether it's supposed to represent some sort of religious text or some sort of Georgian mission statement or what, but someone can let me know. There's also another one, if you can see, on that side. There's one just down that side of that pillar as well. The Soviet Stonehenge. And just at the back of the Chronicles, you have this rather aesthetic looking church. Just there. The Church of Saint Nino, who is the woman traditionally credited with bringing Christianity to Georgia in the 4th century. Is this church a sort of link between ancient faith and, at the time, modern / political architecture? I'm not sure. It's nice though. it is nice. It's a nice vibe up here. And you've got a really nice little view of the surrounding city just out there. It gets a little bit more rural as you get out there, and then you have the big reservoir just there. You can also see some of the brutalist concrete blocks that are just standing there, row after row after row, and those apartment blocks down there, they continue more down there. Let's see if today's journey takes us to one, shall we? My thoughts on the Chronicles. It's pretty cool, I think. It's something different, something you don't really see. It's got that mix of brutality with a mix of craft to try and sound posh. So, there was stop number 1. My thoughts are pretty cool. I actually enjoyed it. I think if you are in Georgia, you should visit. So I actually quite like the vibe up here, to be fair. So would recommend. Now let's move on to the next destination. So just a short 15 to 20 minute car journey from the Chronicles of Georgia, and we find ourselves at stop 2 on today's Soviet era / brutalist tour of Georgia. And we have right in front of us that rather peculiar looking building, which is the Bank of Georgia HQ, the headquarters of the Bank of Georgia, built in 1975 under the Soviet rule. My very first impressions of the building was that it looks like a game of concrete Jenga. That was the first thing that came into my mind. And maybe in its younger years it looked a little bit more striking, as maybe all this foliage wasn't there and it maybe stood out a little bit more across the city. But there it is, just up there. We've got a different profile of people outside. We've gone from the tourists alongside the Chronicles of Georgia to now more locals in suits, suited and booted, outside the Bank of Georgia HQ. I wonder if they get many tourists come here. So the first stop was concrete Stonehenge. Now we have concrete Jenga. It was built in 1975 throughout the Soviet era, and it was actually built by a Georgian who was in the ministry at the time himself. Starting to get strange looks. I feel like people think I'm some sort of auditor or somehow. Yeah. There's this little glass little cube outside as well, and it was meant to represent how industry and nature could live side by side, which is why the whole thing's suspended off the ground like giant Lego blocks suspended over the trees. Tempted to go in and open up an account in there. We've got some escalators as we go in. That seam broke. Oh, the doors have opened. And the escalators are not working. Oh, yeah, they are. Should we go down? Not sure how far we can go here, because I'm getting a guy on a. There's a guy on the desk there. When the history of it.
Take the photo.
So, gentleman inside wasn't too friendly about filming. There was a little bit on the wall that said about its construction. It was in Georgian, so I couldn't really understand it. But it basically said that it started construction in 1972, and there was pictures on the wall of it. But yeah. And over there's a dog kennel, which is slightly surprising, which you don't always expect to see at a bank. So it's still used as a bank today, but it's now classed as a cultural heritage monument here in Georgia. So they've gone from being ruled by the Soviets to protecting some of the stuff that they built. So there's not much to see, really, and hang around. It's not like there's a museum or even many pictures around the outside of the building. There was some in the lobby, but obviously you can't really go in there. Which is a little bit strange, considering it's been classed as a heritage monument. Another strange thing that I've noticed as well is all these cars have been boxed in, because this is technically the other side of the road. So I don't know what happens when these cars want to leave, because this is like a two-way path here. This is the other side of the road, and that's the other side of the road. So all these cars that are parked there can't get out. Anyway, not much left to see. That's pretty much stop 2. No point hanging around. We're starting to lose a little bit of daylight, so let's go to stop number 3. I'm currently at stop number 3. However, we've got ourselves into a little bit of a pickle because gates are shut and locked. Now, a little bit of deeper digging into this place tells me that it's only available through private function hire and also through private organised tours. However, let's see if we can get an exterior shot of it. And it is the Palace of Rituals, aka the Wedding Palace, here in Georgia. A big sort of Soviet wannabe church slash ritual hall built in 1984. And this is a sort of neighbourhood that it's in, just here. Proper sort of block housing. And we're going to try and just walk a little bit around on the outside so you can see it, because when I was in the taxi you could see it from the top of the hill. The driver didn't know how to get there himself, which probably was a bit of an omen. But let's have a little look to see what it looks like from the outside.
Okay.
Can we visit?
Yes.
I can visit this. You know the palace?
No palace.
It's not possible to visit. It's closed.
It's just closed.
I'm not sure. I want to visit the wedding palace. Is it
It
possible?
was a wedding palace. Just I don't know what it's.
Oh, it's not possible to visit.
I don't know.
Okay, no problem.
You must go there.
Yeah, I just went the gates. It's closed. Maybe if tourists are not allowed. You don't know. Okay. Thank you. It's just up there. You see the big, so just sticking up in the air there, and the palace is just behind it. Now, that there is what it looks like, and my research tells me that the Soviets didn't want people getting married in churches. They wanted to secularize tradition, so they built these huge ritual halls over the USSR, and that is Georgia's version. And there you have it, just in the distance there. You can see through the trees. I think that here is probably about the best view that we're going to get of it. It's just up there, above the petrol station. The Palace of Rituals. And citizens of Georgia would register births, weddings and deaths there, life events, stamped and signed in brutalist concrete. So unfortunately, haven't made it inside the Palace of Rituals. That's the thing with this type of travelling. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, and we've learnt today that they don't let people inside. It's just slightly annoying because the back gate was open. When I went around the back way, when I walked up, the back gate was open to let a car out, And I thought, because I thought it was like the exit, I went around the other side. If I would have known that literally both sides were the same, I probably would have tried to sneak in, but I'm gonna have to imagine what it's like inside, or at least Google it or something. But I can see in the distance those sort of bronze bells there. Can you imagine them ringing out at the top of someone's wedding? There's even a little balcony just off the back there, and I wonder if back in the day the happy bride and groom would come out of there on their wedding day. The ritual palace is not possible.
No.
No tourists. No tourists inside.
No.
Okay, thank you. Lovely gent who worked at the petrol station there was quick to shake away any possibility of going there today. So, as I'm standing in the middle of just a random fucking roundabout in Georgia, I have two more places that I would like to visit on my itinerary of the brutalist buildings of Georgia. However, we are starting to lose a little bit of the daylight, and I feel sick as a dog from sitting in Georgian taxis driving like fucking Mario Kart all day long. So I'm gonna pause here and we'll pick back up tomorrow, which actually marks the final day in Georgia for me, and we'll pick back up then to finish off the last two parts of today's journey. It's a lovely day out here in Tbilisi in Georgia. Beautiful blue skies, a nice gentle breeze, and I figure it's the perfect time to try some traditional Georgian food. I'm currently in a little area called Marjanishvili, which I think is one of the posher parts of Tbilisi, and I've heard there's a nice little traditional Georgian restaurant up the road that does authentic Georgian foods that the locals swear by. So come with me as we try some Georgian food. This is the place, Mafshalia. It's quite unassuming from the outside. You go down these steps just in here. Wow, look at this inside. Hello.
Hello,
I'm good. Can I get a table for one, please? One person. Thank you. Thank you. Is it possible? Can I go inside? Yeah. Thank you. This. You can get your own private cubicle. Look. Wow. Look at that. Some sort of mosaics on the side. This is the menu. So what have we got on the menu then here? Got all these Georgian dishes there. Chicken carcho. We've got khachapuri. We've got pork barbecue with potatoes. How are you? There's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of Georgian dishes to choose from. What should we go for? There's lobiani, which is bean bread. There's dumplings, kinkalis, chicken carcho with nuts, beef ostri. And look at the prices as well. 9 lari. I think that's about £2.50 to feed you. A full dish out in Georgia for just £2.50. What a time to be alive. And there's the other side of the menu. We've got cold dishes there with pickles assorted. We've got some cha-cha, just 6 lari, lemonade, or natural juice. Natural juice, I wonder what that is. Right, what are we going to go for? Can I take the beef? This one?
Yes, beef.
The beef. And then can I take maybe a bread and a lemonade? Is that okay? Thank you. Thank you. That came very quick. So we've got the beef oster here, and we've got some local bread there. Look at these little glasses that you get as well. I feel like I should be drinking whiskey, sipping on a whiskey, not a lemonade. whiskey fever. And that's not actually lemonade, it's pear. It's a pear-aid. First time trying a pear-aid today. So we've got to dip the bread into the stew. It's like a beef stew, I think. Banging. Oh mate, that's nice. That is nice. I like that. It's got a little bit of a kick to the stew, a little bit of a spice, and a little bit of an afterburn. But I can't complain. Probably one of my favourite things I've had since I've been here. Imagine all the locals in here eating the beef oster, eating the ojakuri, the khachapuri throughout the Soviet era, in this little underground, local, traditional Georgian restaurant. Look at this booth that I'm in as well. Just brick. My own little private brick booth. Got some onions in there, some herbs, some spices, a little bit of beef. Beef is proper soft. I wonder if they make a big pot at the start of the day, then just dish it out as the customers come in. So it's basically like a traditional beef stew. It's got like a tomato-y base with a little bit of a kick to it, and there's some herbs and spices thrown in, some onions. The beef is nice and soft. Chef's kiss, mate. Gabariosh. When you've been on your feet for about 4 or 5 days straight in Georgia, it's a nice little hearty dish to enjoy after a long hard day. Feels like proper home cooked Georgian food. It's also a deceptively big amount of food. I'm struggling to finish it. I'm actually struggling to finish it. I wonder if the Soviets drank pear-aid. If anyone is aware, I'd like to know. Right, that was banging. Just finished. Probably the best thing I've eaten since I've been here. Beef ostri. Proper, authentic, traditional, home-cooked Georgian food. And sat in a brick booth while I'm eating it.
Hi gider. Brinci puli rock salayım.
It was very nice. Can I pay? Thank you. It was very good ostri. It was very
You
fun.
like?
It was very good.
Enjoy.
I like the ostri better than the ojakuri. The ostri,
Japuri.
Ostri was-
Elarji.
yeah, it was very good. Let's look around here. All the mosaics on the wall. Proper Georgian restaurant.
Pullar 50 tete. Change, no change.
I'll change.
Change,
I'll tell you
change.
what. You keep. Okay.
1 minute.
You keep.
1 minute.
No, it's okay. You have. Thank you. It's okay. You keep. Thank you. Take care. Thank you. So, there we have it. A nice traditional, authentic Georgian meal. And it came to just under 13 lari, which by my expert calculations is £3.71. To have a full meal. We had the ostri, we had the side of bread, and I broke my pear-aid virginity for under £4. What a time to be alive. Strongly recommend it if you come here to Tbilisi. It's very nice. After a bus journey from our last destination, we have just arrived at another one of Georgia's most iconic remnants of Soviet brutalism, this time in the sphere of urban planning. I'm currently at the Plato II Microdistrict, which is known for these sky-rise, densely populated tower blocks, which were built in the 70s and 80s during Georgia's Soviet period. Now, walking up here when I got off the bus was like walking up the fucking Hollywood Hills, and it was steeper than I thought. But that means you get these fairly spectacular views if you are a resident in one of these blocks. Not sure what's left knocking about in these sheds. But talk about brutalist concrete buildings, a concrete monster of a building. Now, a famous traveller once said, you'd rather be in the ugly building looking over at the nice part than the nice part with an ugly building staring at you from opposite the street. Something to think about. Now, you can tell that they're quite densely populated up here because the roads are super busy, but it's not that walkable. Obviously, it's based on a hill, and also there's not too many pavements. A lot of the pavements are blocked off. They switch from side to side. It's not too easy to navigate. There's a little, what looks like a greengrocer's over there, or selling appliances and utilities and things like that. You see like bare exposed brick. And over here, got what seems to be a Georgian beer market with a little greengrocers attached to the side of it there. Now, so far, the stops that we've made today, a sort of showcase of Soviet style brutalist architecture, whereas now there's a bit of a contrast because this is everyday living, everyday grit, built quickly, raw concrete and grit, sort of made to function more over how aesthetically pleasing it looks. Someone's got the washing out on the line drying there. That flower basket, seen better days. It's mad seeing like all that exposed brick. It looks moody. Little bench just outside there. I wonder if people sort of congregate, have an evening after a hard day's graft down here. The dogs that are barking in the background as well give it an extra flavour. Didn't expect to see a Tesla there. That's one thing I didn't expect to see. And also all the stray dogs that we've got out here. There's kennels. We've got kennels just out there for the dogs. This man's keeping an eye on everyone there. And what's pretty mad is that we're surrounded by all these concrete buildings, right? These concrete sky rises. And right in the centre of them all is a little church, just here, which is shielded by all these trees. And you've got all the big moody backdrop of the concrete buildings in the background there. So this must be where the local residents come and practice their faith on a Sunday. And this is the foreground of the church that we're currently stood in now. Considering how many people must live in all these surrounding areas, it's quite quiet. The only things that you can really hear are these big diesel fueled lorries that are stuttering up the hill here, and dogs, random dogs barking in the flats behind me. Feels like worlds apart from those sulphur baths down in the centre of Tbilisi. It's where we are currently. I'm just imagining what winter is like here. Must be very stark, I would think. But it's got a bit of a deadly atmosphere to the place. They just surround you everywhere, these blocks, in this micro district that we're in. They don't seem to be the most inviting of places, but I suppose they're not meant to be, are they? They're supposed to be efficient, which I guess they are, and they've stood the test of time. Just seeing all these little shops that are opposite that people must use on a daily basis. We've got a little bakery here by the look of it, or a little it's not a bakery, is it? It's more, they sell eggs, they sell cheese, some oils by the look of it. Little coffee shop here, a little stall, little hole in the window for a coffee shop there. Judging by the amount of buildings that there are here, I'm guessing thousands and thousands of people must live throughout this area. Got a restaurant there, best food. I wonder if the food is the best. From what I've noticed about Georgia, especially the Georgian food, apart from that banging beef ostri we had earlier, it's about 80% bread. So if you're a carbohydrate connoisseur, you'd love it in Georgia. This old school banged out car, is it a Lada? I've heard there are a lot of Ladas knocking about here in Georgia. Somewhere amongst all these tower blocks, there's a suspended skywalk bridge that links a couple of the most notorious blocks together. Let's see if we can find it, shall we? Now, I don't think it's something you'd necessarily find on a tourist map, but that's what we're here for today, to see if we can find it. There's a slightly newer, what looks like one of the high rises there, with a barbecue on the balcony. Barbecues in the summer here in Georgia, and they're building another big block just opposite there. Georgia's now framing itself as, you know, this great rustic wine country with great hospitality and excessive amounts of carbohydrates. However, this is another different little side to Georgia that we're facing today, with more of a Soviet hangover. And I find it just quite interesting when you come to countries to see both sides, to see what the tourists see, and then to go a little bit outside of the tourist areas to see how the locals really live out here on the outskirts of the city. Just behind me now, there's a little football pitch with basketball court and a big tyre in the middle there for kids to play with, as there's a smashed out Nissan Micra which has seen better days. So after a little detour, I can finally see the Skybridge just up there, if you can see it. Now apparently you can get there through one of the local buildings if you take an elevator up. Elevators cost 20 tatri. You take it up to the 14th floor, and that is what we're going to try and do. Now, I'm not mad on taking elevators, I'll be honest, especially ones in old buildings like this. After getting fucking trapped in one recently, but nevertheless, we shall hope this one works. There's a police station there. If you enter it behind it, the first building, you can go in. Here we have the Tbilisi Plateau #1 building. So let's see. So it's good that there's an elevator operator there. Took a picture of that number just in case, and here we are. Bridge. Elevator. And you put your money in here. And it's not worked. Here we go. Please open on the other side. It's got some writing in Georgian there. One person go up, go down 20 tatri, but only 20 tatri. Did not put other coins, because apparently if you do, this gets jammed. I'm not sure what this says here. It says on the 14th floor, and it's still climbing up. So let's hope the doors open. They do. And here we have Skybridge here in Tbilisi. I'm currently stood on one of the last remaining Soviet sky bridges here in Tbilisi. When we start looking out, you've got great views of the whole city. Look at the views of all the city outside there. And as we wander a little bit further, we start seeing all these concrete buildings here. They don't put this in the tourist guide, do they? So you can get some pretty decent shots. I mean, I didn't think there was going to be 3 bridges. There's a little shop here. 2 shops, look. Here is to rent. Someone's at a KFC by the look of it. As we walk through, it's wheelchair accessible as well. If we climb the stairs, we're onto the 3rd sky bridge now. This is the 3rd one. The railing's obviously quite high, as you can imagine. And you get good little panoramic views out onto the city with the concrete brutalist blocks on the one side, and then the city all across the other side. Look at that. You got the bare brickwork again there. You got some wooden window frames up there as well. The lady's putting a washing out to dry over the opposite side there as well. He's got a lovely little balcony. He has a little like round little rotunda looking thing with a couple of chairs on, watching the world go by. And one thing I've noticed from maybe these sorts of buildings that you expect to see maybe in England and places, that it feels quite safe. I mean, if you was to go to some fucking council estates in Birmingham, you'd want to keep your wits about you, but here it feels fairly safe to walk around and everyone's just sort of getting on with their lives. I wonder what was in here. Look at that. Is this open? No, it's locked. You'd be gutted if some of your trousers fell off the side there, wouldn't you? As they were drying. And right down the bottom there, if you can see it, you've got a shell of a car. Just a shell of a car sat there. No wheels, no engine, nothing. Lovely. Got some more balconies and things like that there. I wonder how many people live around here in all these blocks, in this little they call it a micro district. It's mad because first thing you can see right in front of us are all these like massive levels of grey concrete slabs stuck out all here for all the mass housing, and then behind that you can see where the sort of main part of the city is, just sat there, all the newer buildings, all the posher buildings, just in front of the hills there as you get down into Tbilisi itself. Just slabs and slabs of concrete. 3 brutalist blocks stuck together like something from a post-apocalyptic film. It's proper moody, but kind of nice in its own weird way. The bridges that link them, they go down a set of stairs and then down another set of stairs. Not a big fan of the elevator though, can't lie. Let's make our way back down, shall we? So it looks like only one elevator is for the public by the look of it, by all these A4 pieces of paper with sellotape stuck to it. I believe one of them is a residential one, and I believe 2 of those are out of service, which is very assuring for someone who's recently picked up a bit of a phobia of elevators after being trapped inside one. So let's hope it gets us down in one piece. Someone's got up there some sort of fucking, some cardboard sheet, some sort of plywood there in the window. The elevator is here. Right, so don't like that noise. The 20 Tetri goes in, first floor. Right, let's hope. And now we go back down. You can hear the noise of the elevator as well. It feels like you can feel the chains going down. I'm at the point where I don't actually want to move, just in case anything fucks up and I get stuck. This is the last place you want to get stuck, and I've just realised there's no emergency button on it either. So if you get stuck in here, what the fuck do you do? I have no idea. Unless you can read fucking Georgian, it would be fucking horrible. So so let's hope that don't happen. And we're on the first floor now. Please open up the doors. Thank fuck for that. So that must be one that's not in use straight away. And that's the residence elevator. So I'm guessing 1, 2, 3 are out of use. And this is the one that the residents can use. And that there is a tourist one. Got a little communal area there with your Hannah Montana tablecloth, a few plant pots, washing machine, one solitary table with 1 chair, but 3 sort of sofas there. And then you've got a little communal area out here. There's kids just playing football. How you doing? You good? You okay? You good? Kid just playing football there. How are you doing? You okay? Josh? I've been up. Yeah, thank you. I think that's the elevator engineer, by the look of it, who's there to help you if you get stuck. Now luckily we did not get stuck in the elevator, because that would have been horrid. That would have been a horrid experience. So you can alternatively take the stairs up here, but I read that you can't actually get to the floor with the bridge if you take the stairs. And here is where we just were, all the way up there. And if you look around here, there's the second one, just under the trees. You can see it there, just under the trees. So we've seen a little bit of a contrast in the destinations that we visited in this video. We've saw some showcasey Soviet style buildings left over here in Georgia, such as the Chronicles of Georgia and the Bank of Georgia headquarters. We've also seen some gritty living conditions that are still in use today. So I'm going to leave the video there as I try and navigate my way back into the centre of Tbilisi. I very much appreciate you watching. If you could be as ever so kind as to drop a like, comment, subscribe and all that jazz. Really helps grow the channel, so I've heard. And I can keep bringing more off the beaten path content. So, thank you very much for watching, and I shall catch you in the next video.